Hello everyone. Welcome to week 2 of the seasonal Biscornu Flossiversary Sal 2024. So good to see so many of you here in the chat this evening. I hope everything is going well. I hope you've been having a great week so far. I hope your stitching is going well. I know I've seen in the chat some of you said you've been ripping things out. That's not stitching some happy. Me too. It happens to all of us. And just take your time. So tonight, what is on the agenda this week? This week, we are continuing our stitching. I know a lot of you might already be done. That's totally fine. A lot of you may have started early. I'm still working on the top of mine. And if you're just still working on yours, don't feel like you're behind. You absolutely aren't. You can totally work at your own pace. All of these videos will be here for you. So definitely, I'm going to turn this overhead light off. Sorry. I was like, why is the light so weird? And then I realized why. So work at your own pace. Do what do what you can. And like I said, all of this will be here. You can come back and watch. You can come out and hang out, see what's said in the chat and all of that good stuff. So the agenda this week, we're going to continue and finish stitching the top of our Biscornu so that next week we can work on the border and starting the stitching for the bottom of our Biscornu. So that is kind of what we're going to work on. Because I know some of you are ahead, I am going to work on just stitching this first part of the video. We'll chat, we'll do all of that good stuff. But kind of the second half of the video, or a little bit later on, I will show, we'll talk about the backstitch border, because I know there have been quite a few questions about that. So I'm going to show it, but I will show it again next week. So don't fear about that. But I did want to go ahead. I talked about it right at the end of last week's video. So I wanted to show it this week, just in case anybody is working on it. Let me see. If you have questions while we are stitching, drop them here in the chat. Love hearing how everybody is doing. Let me check our poll. I do have a couple things to talk about. Looks like I asked what everybody's working on tonight. 49% is summer, spring 17, autumn 24, and winter is 11. I have seen so much progress, you guys. Thank you for tagging me, for posting photos of your progress. Make sure if you do post it on social media, tag me. That's the best way for me to see it. I love seeing what everybody is doing. Tabitha says she's not even going to attempt to stitch during the live because she knows she'll rip everything out and ain't nobody got time for that. That's hilarious, Tabitha. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, so that was the first thing. Work at your own pace. Don't feel rushed. Please don't feel rushed. Don't feel like you're behind. If you're just seeing all this crazy Biscornu stuff going on and you just want to join in just now, that's totally awesome too. You can join in absolutely anytime. The next thing that I want to talk about, it's gone live in her shop, but at 141 Design, Chantal has created some cute little risers. They definitely work for Biscornus. They work for drums, all kinds of things. So let me pop a little picture in right here. They are round, they come with the little feet, and you get a 2-pack. So if you're looking for a fun way to display your Biscornus or your stack of Biscornus, this is awesome. So that is the first thing. And give me 1 second. I'm super sorry. I need to check something really quick. Let me run over here. I was going to grab an easy link for you guys, but how easy is it really when it's taken me forever here to find it? So you can just check out that cute picture of the Biscornu. I saw the question about not knowing what we're working on. Yes, I'm going to talk all about it. But you can definitely go back and check out the previous videos and social media posts as well. Let me grab this really quick. I'm super sorry. I thought I had this saved, but you know how the saying goes, all the best plans and all that. Not always. Okay. So now I can go back over here. Just takes me just a second. Okay. So I'm going to drop this here for you guys because that's easiest. They're super cute. Okay. Now, oops. Oh no, I hit the wrong button. Haha. You'd think I've not streamed before, right? Okay. So that is that. The blue displays are so cute. I'm currently working on the Spring Quaker. Fun. Oh, I love that. Hello, Stitchers. Okay, so Debbie says, I'm new to the project, so I don't know what you're working on. Will we see an overview? Yes, that was the question I was talking about. Let me flip my camera around. Hello, Holly. All right. So what we're working on. I am working on, and this is the one a lot of you, I think, are working on. Last I checked, it was 49%. We are turning a hands-on design basket chart, there's 4 different seasons, into a Biscornu. I am working on the summer. This is the 32, this is stitched on 32. I am stitching this design right here, and that's the one we'll be stitching on camera. I have already done a sample for autumn. For spring, I guess I should maybe show the chart with it, huh? So this is autumn, just a little review. Spring, I stitched in my own colorway. So don't be alarmed when it doesn't look like the chart. That is spring. And then for winter, I stitched mine on charcoal linen. So it looks a little different than the chart for that as well. So we are taking a chart that was not charted for a Biscornu, and we are making Biscornus out of it. Square charts can be turned into a Biscornu if you love a dimensional finish, and I do love a dimensional finish. So that is what we are working on. I hope that answers the question. That was my quick little overview. And again, please check out those previous last week's video. I really started the project completely from the beginning. And that will answer a lot of those questions. Hello, Nan. Indie Quilter 1 got her pattern today. Perfect. Hello. Joanne says from her Michael, her 9-year-old son. Hello, Michael. All right, and Shari just ordered some risers today. Yay! Cassie got 2 sets. They're really cute. Not just for this project, but for so many things. And here is something else. Mine are on their way to me, so I will have them. Don't know if I'll have them to show you this week's Flosstube or not. They may not make it by the time I film, but they will. I will show them in next week's video, painted and ready to go. But the risers, what's great, if you want to create height in your displays, they're fantastic for even tucking into a tray. And let's say you have cute pillows and other finishes around it, you can stick the riser in there, and what you put on it, let's say it's a drum, you've made a cross-stitch drum, or you're going to do a Biscornu or a stack of them. It's just going to create height in your displays, which I love. So, and it's a cute way to do it. Like, I have been known to like tuck other things in my display so that I can create height, but they're not pretty. These will be pretty. They look like they're made to go there because they are. Oh, you're welcome, Debbie. Okay. Oh, Joanne, I'm so glad. I love that. Well, I'm going to flip the camera around. Pop your questions in. While I'm stitching, I'm going to get all set up to stitch here. I'm going to stitch on camera. We're just going to stitch and chat for a little bit. And I do want to talk about the summer one. I am actually going to have samples. This is 32 count. My 40 is almost finished. I have a little bit left, but I did make my border so we could talk about it. And I did start my backside, the bottom border. Which we'll talk about kind of in the second half of tonight's video. But I'm going to work on stitching this one. I find this stitches super fast. I stitched that, last night, really quick, or this morning. all the times are running together for me. And I did this just a little bit ago, so it goes really quick. Love the riser. Yay, you guys, that's awesome. All right, let me get my magnifier and all the things and maybe some floss. Last week, do you guys remember that somebody asked about thread? Kind of, you know, oh gosh, why are words hard tonight? We were talking about shredding, floss shredding, and especially I notice it a lot like in 40 count fabric. Maybe you guys do too. And I had mentioned that I had seen the tip on Flosstube that if you use a 26 needle, even in those higher count fabrics, it'll make the hole a little bit bigger and it maybe will help. I tried it this week. It does help. It helps quite a lot, actually. This fabric for this 40 count, I had noticed my DMC was shredding, and I hardly ever have trouble with DMC. So I did switch to a 26 needle, and it worked really well. So if you guys haven't tried it, give it a try. Let me know if it works for you. Oh, Crystal, the risers for Christmas displays are going to be amazing, even if you don't need them for cross stitch. I love like little villages and stuff where you can have some of the villages and the trees and stuff up higher. They're going to come in super handy. Super, super handy. Maureen had to frog a bit, but she's on a roll now. Perfect. Kathleen just needs corners for winter. Hello, Koi. Any tips for stitching the bottom of the autumn basket? I will just show you what I did. I actually stitched the top part. So I stitched the same chart. You can do a different one if you want to, but I just did the 4 corners. I didn't stitch anything in the center. If you've missed me talking about this before, what I don't like to stitch in the center most of the time. I'm not going to say I never will, but most of the time I don't, because it's just going to be sitting flat on a riser. Well, just pretend, actually, let's not pretend so much, okay? So it's sitting flat. You're not going to see it anyway. I only want that little part that shows to have stitching on it. It's a time saver. I mean, we got lots of stuff to stitch, right? So I just figure, why stitch here that's never going to get seen? Now, if you display your Biscornus differently, you may want to stitch a complete bottom. That's completely up to you. But for me, I do it like that. So I just took the little stars. If you're stitching this one from the autumn basket, I just took the corners and I stitched them on my bottom piece of fabric, but I did do them all the same color. So, but you can do them different colors. Have fun with it. Make it your own. Jenny says, what are you planning on doing for your 40 count summer one? For the bottom, you mean? Just stalking tonight, Donna said. That's funny. Pretty sure I think. That's not a good way to say that. Pretty sure that I am going to do this chart again, just in the corners maybe, but do a different color of star, maybe. I haven't fully committed. That's one of those things that I wait to commit to till I start actually stitching it. I'm hoping to stitch it later this evening to start this, so I will let you guys know. I'll probably do an Instagram post. I just haven't fully decided. I know that's so silly, but sometimes it just takes me working on it before I figure out exactly what I want to do. But I do like, I like that I did the same one for the autumn, the same design for the bottom as the top, so I think I might do that again. Question. What color thread did you backstitch with on the spring? Oh, that blue color. I don't know what it is right at the moment. Is it 3819? That sounds right. It's whatever that aqua color is. I have the conversion on Instagram, but I don't have it right here with me. How do you plan to use your Biscornu? As decoration? Probably filling dough bowls. I like to set them around finishes. I like to create vignettes in my decor. So I would stick them in with other decor. It may not even be cross-stitch decor, but like vases and things like that. Like mine, I'm stitching patriotic, and that's how I'm imagining decorating with them. So I will likely fill them in with other little patriotic decorations. How do you know where to start on the bottom? You just want to stitch it exactly like the top. So however far away from the corner you stitched on the top, stitch on the bottom. And it's not going... So I stitched 3, I know on that one for sure, 3 away from the line. But it's all relative. You don't have to do it exactly that way. Let's see. Can you show... Jill, not all of your question came through. 3816, Susan says, is the color. Susan, thank you. I didn't have the conversion sheet with me. If you asked about the spring Biscornu, 3816. Thank you, thank you. Can you show the bottom corners of your spring? Yes. I did talk about this last week. I altered the chart. So you'll have to mirror image like the side one because it's only like the little shape. Debbie, it is a rabbit hole. Jill, did that answer your question? Shelly, should we do the back stitch first? On the back of the Biscornu or the front? There is no right or wrong, okay? Let me show... I'll show you exactly, and I did talk about this last week, but let me show you exactly what I did. And I am showing exactly what I did in case you want to take a square chart at some point and do the same thing. So what I do is I stitch the top. I did not stitch the back stitch line. You saw a lot of this last week and in my Flosstube. I stitched the inside design first, or at least the outer points. I do have a couple of the stars left. Then I back stitched all the way around. And on this one, it is 3 stitches away from the furthermost point, which is these lines here. So it measures 73 by 73. So I did a back stitch line. Then that's how I do the top. If there's a streaming issue, I'm really sorry. We'll see if it corrects itself. I have no idea how long that little alert's been going on. Let's see. Okay, on the bottom of the Biscornu, is it buffering for anyone? Will you let me know? How aggravating. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. On the back, after I've done this, I back stitch. I just didn't make it all the way around. I do 73 by 73 and then I fill it in. That's just how it works best for me. Let's see, the back, because I'm always off on the corner stitches. On the back, I would do the back stitch first. Okay, am I buffering? Can someone let me know? Or is it buffering so bad that nobody can? I thought the issue was on my side. Crap. Dang it. Yeah, I don't know what I can do. This is so frustrating. Let's see. Oh, it seems fine. It should. Okay, for some it's fine, for some it's not. It should correct itself, but we'll just see. Okay, let me come back to the questions. I can answer those. Hold on. On the 32 count, are you using 1 or 2 threads? Oh, it fixed itself. Hallelujah. Thank you, because that causes me stress. Are you using 1 or 2 strands for backstitching? Thank you, Karen, for that question. On 32 count, I am using 2 strands of floss. On 36 and 40, I am using 1. I am going to do some backstitching tonight, so it should, that should help. Let me flip this around. I'm going to show you. This is 1 strand. On 40, I only did 1 strand of floss. So 36 and 40, I do 1 strand. This is an example of a 36 count, and this line was, backstitch line was stitched with 1 strand of floss. Both of these are on 32 count. I stitched with 2 strands of floss. Great, great question. It buffered. Whew. Oh, Karen, I thought you weren't going to be here. Hello, Chantal from Vegas. Sometimes it's the YouTube app and you have to clear. Well, that is interesting to know. It tells me on my end, and for whatever reason, it's about at the same point of streaming every time, which really irritates me. Really irritates me. Okay, did I answer everybody's question? It is telling me my stream health is great now. I'm going to stitch. Ask questions. I want to make sure that hopefully I've explained everything that you want to know. Let's get set up. Yes, the backstitch line needs to be the same for the top and the bottom. If you're going to do like I am, you're going to want to do 73. Brenda, on the bottom is your backstitch outline. It's stitch, not X's. No, it is not X's. It's a backstitch line, not a crossed line. Not a regular stitch. Hello, Terry. So we're gonna, hopefully mine is good. Great. Oh, I love that. So my friend Karen thought she wasn't going to be here this evening because she has a new fur baby and she is adorable. I want puppy snuggles. I mean, Frank and Odin snuggles are great and all, but puppy snuggles are the best. Tonight is 3, right? No, Peg, it's not. It is actually week 2, so we're still working on the top. Or I'm working on the top. Other people might be further along than me, and that is a-okay. I like to stitch along with you guys during my stitch alongs, so other than my samples, I did not stitch ahead. Kara, that's totally okay. Oh, Holly, thank you for letting me know. It's okay. This is going to be a new for a lot of you, and that is why I'm doing this. I wanted it to be something where, okay, why? This light is the bane of my existence. Let me see if that's better. But I know this is new for a lot of you guys, and that is why ask your questions. Absolutely ask them. Oh, that's awesome. Oh no, I am so sad that you've been sick, Anne. I hope you're on the mend and you're feeling better. And just know that this will be here. All the content will be here for you when you are up to stitching again. Let's see, Maureen, would you use 2 strands for 28 count for the backstitch? Absolutely, Maureen. Good question. Yes, if you are stitching on a 28 or 14 count, I would use 2 strands for sure. You're going to be much, much happier with your results. D, yes. When you're stitching on 40 count, are you stitching 1/2? Yes, I am. 1 strand of floss over 2 linen threads. In case anybody wondered what that, I've had that question quite a few times lately, which is exciting because that means we've got either new stitchers or OG stitchers who are coming back to stitching. So that is awesome. Let's see. Let me just make sure that I didn't miss anything. Okay. No problem, Peg. No problem. All right, I'm going to stitch for just a little bit while you guys are stitching, and then we're going to talk briefly about our backstitch line. And then just an FYI, I will be going over backstitch line in depth next week. But we'll talk a little bit about it tonight for anybody who is ready for that step and wants to get started. Let's see. What did you stuff with? Natalie asked. I stuff with walnut shells, and they are listed down in the description. You can stuff it with whatever your preferred stuffing material is. I'm going to switch here real quick. The reason I love walnut shells is I feel like they are crushed walnut shells, lizard litter, something like that. I don't stuff a lot of things with those, like pillows. I shouldn't say a lot of things. I don't stuff pillows with crushed walnut shells. I just don't like how they feel for the most part. But Biscornus, it fills all these little corners really well, and it makes it weighty, almost kind of like a heavy pincushion. Kind of is, paperweight, something like that. So I like the crushed walnut shells. I get the unscented ones. I know they sell scented ones too. You can check that out. But I prefer the unscented, and I will go in depth in that when I do the finishing video. Christy, I have just started trying linen. Do different linens, same count. Have various tightness of weave. Any info? I have a 36 that is easier to stitch than 32. Yes, different dyers. It really just depends on the fabric dyer. Some of them, it's probably has something to do with the dyeing and the drying process is my guess. I don't know. I'm not a dyer, but I have heard that. But some, like, it shrinks almost a little bit and it gets really tight, and some are much looser weaves, even if they're using the same base fabric. So yes, they can very much vary and be different, and some people really prefer a tighter weave fabric and some like a looser weave, so that's really just personal preference. If you do find it's super, like 2 strands is super tight on 32 count, you can always try 1 strand. I've done that before and I liked the results. It might give it a little bit more of a faded or washed out appearance, but it might give really good coverage, but I like it. So that is an option. Terry's finally here. Yay, Crystal, I might be jumping ahead, but when you stitch the 2 pieces together, I'm not going to go over that tonight because I think it's too far ahead. Sorry. Getting ready to start another stitch on 18 count. It says to use 2 strands. Would you? I was thinking 1. Beatrice, I would use 1 strand, but you can do whatever you want there. But me personally, I would use 1. Let's see. Debbie says she cross-stitched 100 years ago and loved working on linen. I love that. Okay. Let's try to get this star stitched, and then let's talk about the backstitch line. Let's see. Oh, Christy, you are not going crazy at all. There are some... You guys tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know that I've ever noticed this, but I have heard, like, Picture This Plus linen, it is much tighter than others. Maybe I haven't stitched on a ton of Picture This Plus. I know I have. I just don't know if I've noticed it. I have noticed it on certain fabrics, but... Let's see. Susan is using 1 strand on 32 count, and see, that's perfect. I am a big fan of no rules. I feel like you should totally do what feels best to you. Stitch on what count, what fabric. Even if it tells you use 2 strands, try it in the corner, or even try, you know, a few stitches. And if you feel like you don't like the 2 strands and you'd rather do 1, by all means, do that. What color are you going to do your backstitch in? You know what? It varies every time. I like to look at it. Probably red, probably 321. I'm going to do it here in a minute, so I really should decide. Or do I want to do blue on this one? No, I'm going to do it in 321. Yes, see, Amanda says she loves Picture This Plus. It is a tighter weave. So, and I like it too. Sue says she's heard Picture This Plus is tighter. Absolutely. Oh, thank you, Debbie. Yeah, they're really fun. We're going to have a Biscornu Palooza going on. We're going to be seeing them everywhere, I have a feeling. Okay, if you are stitching with something other than one of these seasonal basket charts from Hands On Design for your Biscornu, let us know in the chat what you're using. Because really, again, these are not Biscornu charts. We're just making them into Biscornus, but any square chart can be used to make one. I mean, the results won't all be the same, but a lot of designs will work. You know, railroading, I'm going to do it. I actually have been railroading quite a lot my white stitches. I know some people railroad all stitches. Peg, do you normally stitch with 2 strands of floss? Or do you normally stitch with 1? Like, I normally like to stitch with 1. Like 36 count is my go-to favorite, and I stitch with 1 strand on 36. So even though I love 32, oh, did I mess up here? Oh girl, what you doing? That might be right. Hold up. We're gonna have to pull closer to these eyes that aren't working so good. It's kind of a pain sometimes to stitch with the 2 strands. Like I like them to lay really nice and flat. So railroading may take a little bit longer, but sometimes it's worth it. I'm not doing a very good job stitching tonight. Yep, Jenny, I think the primrose quilt patterns would be fantastic. Mostly because the size of those primrose quilt patterns, not the monthly minis. I think they would be cute. I would probably, if you're doing the monthly minis, you'll have to tell me if you are stitching them. I've seen a few people say they are. They're quite a bit smaller than these, so they're going to end up smaller. Anyway, I would probably stitch on 28 or 14 count so that they're a little bit bigger. They're going to be a little easier to put together. But if you're, you know, awesome with teeny tiny, I think that would be fun. Jana, I railroad with white too. But their quilt patterns with the repeating pattern would be amazing as Biscornus. Yes. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see. I'm doing the spring basket, but I think I'm also going to do the spring Quaker. That would be beautiful. Oh, Linda, how fun! Considering making my summer Biscornu be in honor of the Paris Summer Olympics. That is a very fun idea. Do you know what pin stitching is? Yes, I do. I do. Okay, I do it, but I am not super proficient at it. I've watched Nicola from Hands Across the Sea. I've watched her do it a lot, so to try to get better at it. I'm finding myself looking at all of my patterns with different eyes. Yes, for sure, Jana. That's a great suggestion. Sleepless for way too long said she did the monthly minis on 25 count. Yes, I didn't even think of that. 25 count is a great idea for those. Perfect, perfect. Yes, I like that. Let's see. Oops. Oh, you guys, I can't stitch on camera tonight. What in the world? Having all kinds of issues. I'll probably stitch for a couple more minutes and then we're going to do some back stitching. Jana, thank you for the super chat. You're so sweet. Thank you so much. Yeah, I've been looking at all of my charts, like what can I make, not necessarily Biscornu, but like all kinds of things. Can this be a drum? What can this be? Oh, I picked out my fabric for my green pears to finish them. My fabric and my felt, so I'm going to work on those. I may even work on those this evening. I'm really excited. And it looks like the blue work pears, I did a poll after my last floss tube. They won. I already started stitching them. But never fear, I'm doing all of them. I love them. Peg. Yes. Okay, Peg says she's doing her homework for the Shanty Stitchers class with Kathy of Hands On Design. She asked if I'm coming. I am. I got mine. I have not started my homework yet. I have a little time. I thought I'd get through this stitch-along first, and then I'm going to stitch it up really quick. Are you having fun stitching it? It's so beautiful. Yeah. Oh, Shari says that she thinks the weave tightens up when you dye fabric. At least that's what her sister Stacy said. And if you haven't checked out Shari's channel, Shari and Stacy dyed fabric and they have a new floss tube up. So check her out. Let's see. I have the count wrong. Do I? You have count wrong. Are you going to do a tutorial for finishing the pears? Amanda said, maybe. Yay, blue. Oh, Jana, thank you. You're so sweet. Thank you. That was really kind of you. When using white floss, what is your preferred brand of floss? DMC Weeks. Oh, gosh, you guys. So I used to say I didn't like DMC whites. I've kind of changed my mind a little bit. Mostly, I don't like stitching with white at all with 2 strands. But because I stitch a lot on 36 or 40 anymore, I don't mind it quite as much. Whitewash used to be my very favorite from Weeks. I like whitewash or grits from Weeks. I like, is it Snowball from Classic Colorworks? Maybe. But, you know, any of them are fine. I think you just need to remember to railroad. Shari wants to start. Shari, I thought you'd be done already with your homework for our class. Oh, I went from 2 to 4. Oh, shoot. I did. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's because I'm on camera. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to rip those out. You guys chat. I'm going to rip them out right here. It's much easier than holding my hands out. Thank you, thank you. Counting is so hard. Actually, you know what? We're going to leave it. Let's talk about the backstitch line because we have about 20 minutes left and I want to make sure I have plenty of time for that. I'm going to leave that and rip it out here in a minute and we'll fix it up. Jana says she also uses the silky white. Peg says, Shari, are you coming? Shari, I'll let you answer that because you kind of outed yourself. Oh, who else is coming? Peg is coming to the Shanty Stitchers in August. Let me know. I'm really excited. It's a one-day class. Let's see. Let's get some floss. Have you tried Anchor White? Joan, no, I haven't. Yep, thank you. I'm going to fix it after a bit. I'm just going to leave my floss in there. Thank you for catching that, because that would have made everything off, and I would have been so angry. Sandy says sometimes she adds an extra strand of white when she's stitching because it makes it pop better. I like that. Snowball Classic Colorworks, Sandy says, in B5200. I think I generally like 3865 in DMC. Don't know why. I used to say no DMC, but I have changed my mind. Let's see. South Dakota, Jana. Lori, yeah, Lori, I know you're coming, but you can out yourself too. Lori Craig's coming too. Shari says she's coming because her friends twisted her arm. All right, and because she can't come to when the class is being taught close to her because she's going to be with those same friends somewhere else. Darn it. Let's see. Retro RX will be in that class. Oh, how fun. Yay, that's exciting. Yes, Susan she says she's done a lot of ripping out and she finds that you definitely need to start in the middle. Lori Craig can probably agree to that. Because Lori said the same thing. All right. I want to talk about starting our backstitch border. This is our furthest point. I am going to, there's a lot of ways to do this. You can backstitch right up next to your stitching line if you want to. If you want it to go directly into the back side of your design. I am leaving a border for this one. I think I will probably do at least one sample that I'll show at some point with a chart before the Sal is finished where I don't leave a border. So I have left a tiny bit of room from the edge of the stitches to my back stitch line. So I just go in and look at it. I do think the summer charts are a little bit easier in this respect. This one was a little trickier to get the back stitch line. It's not impossible, but it's a little trickier. The summer ones were easy. The fall one was really easy, and really the spring one was pretty easy too. So what we're going to do, and again, it's personal preference. If you don't want to leave those spaces or that many spaces, you don't have to. We want to backstitch our line at 70 to make it 73 by 73. Our chart measures 67 by 67. So that's how I figure that. So what I like to do when I start my backstitch line is I like to come right at the middle, and that's where we're going to start. Lori says, start in the middle, do yourself a favor. What is the best way to find out about these retreats? This is not a retreat that I'm going to. It's a one-day class, and I found out because Kathy mentioned it when I interviewed her. I didn't know she was teaching this one. I knew she was teaching, well, she said she was teaching one in North Carolina. It is in North Carolina, right, Shari? Like earlier in the summer. And then she added this one on a little bit later in the summer. But word of mouth, following different shops and things, like that's the best way. Or follow designers. They announce when they're going to have classes or when there will be a retreat. Oh, Peg. That's funny. Let's see. I am going to get my magnifier, and I am literally going to start right at that center point. That is what I find easiest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of come over here to the side with my needle, and I am going to go 1, 2, 3. Now, I'm going to tell you my bestest tip for the backstitch line. Now I have 2. Count, count again, and count a third time. You want to be double checking constantly because I have had to rip out massive parts of these backstitch lines. Not on these, but some of the first Biscornus I did. So there is my stitch. This should line up right in the center. I'm just going to count down again. 1, 2, 3. I literally count over and over and over. Now, because this is the middle of the line, and I like to mark the middle of the line, it is not necessary, but I promise, do yourself a favor and do this. It'll be hidden in the seam allowance, and it makes lining up and checking the lining up of your Biscornus so much easier. You're going to want, I just go in the middle because I'm using linen and even weave. This is what you're going to do, and you're going to make a little stitch. Now, my Ada stitchers, you can do the same thing. What I would do, again, this middle is going to be hidden in the seam allowance. I would do a backstitch line over here on one side of your Ada and over here. So I would make 2 little lines. Does that make sense? Because that tells you that this stitch is your middle stitch. There is nothing that little stitch is going to do for you other than it lets you know that that's the middle of the design. Okay, does that make sense? Let me see. Oh yeah, lots of people are saying follow Sable Stitchers. They have is it a website or a web page that lists retreats that they know of? I have heard that, but I've never checked. Okay, good. Does anybody have any questions on that part? I doubt I get around to the other side, but next week, this is all I'm going to be doing. So if you are not to this point, do not fret. We will be going over it. So then we're going to stitch out to the corner. And it's just a backstitch line. My other tip for this, so you guys know that I stitch in hand and I use the sewing method. Don't use the sewing method. Even if you're tempted, unless you're just real good at it. I have had to rip out more backstitch lines that I have done the sewing method than if I just do the poke and the stab or the traditional method. I know some people don't like it called poke and stab. I don't mean it bad. I feel slow doing it, but I promise you that you're doing yourself a giant favor. And we just want to do all the way. Does the backstitch line show or is it in the seam? It is going to show. So that is this. This is your backstitch line. Now this one, do you see that it's 2 colors? It's because I did my backstitch in one color and then I sewed it together in a different color. I don't know if you can, yeah, it's orange and green. You can do that, or you can do all the same color. This was all done in aqua. But that line is our backstitch line. So I do like to kind of be thoughtful when considering what color to backstitch in because it will show. But that little tiny stitch that we did to note where the middle, whoops, that's not good. To note where the middle is, that will get, it'll look like this. And you'll never see it. Tabitha, you would get angry with, because I get angry with Nichol real quick. I'm like, just don't do that. Take the time to just stitch. So I don't know. I'll see how far I get. I might get to the corner. But this is what I do. Literally exactly like this. And when I am stitching it, let's show on this one. Actually, let's show with the magnifier on this one, shall we? Yes. Okay. From this little notch to the corner, so don't count that middle stitch. it should be 36 stitches. So what I do is I stitch from here to here, and then I count. And then I count again. And I count like 3 times, you guys. I make sure before I turn that corner, do yourself a favor. I know it's a pain. I know it's not fun, but it is so worth it in the end to make sure, because if you accidentally stitch, and I've done it, I have actually stitched like a 1/2 inch too long one time when I was doing the sewing method. That was on the snowflake. I got mad. Some bad words were said. Just make sure before you turn that corner. And then when you get to the corner, you stitch, stitch. And when you stitch 36, and on that 37th stitch, you're going to mark the center again. And then you just keep doing that, and you just keep counting. So that's how I mark it. I know it sounds kind of crazy. No, Terry, you're right. If you're doing Ada, sewing method it up. You'll be good to go. But what I want to say with this step, it is a little tedious. It is. Full disclosure, this backstitch line on 40 count, this is kind of tight, I found as well, took me an hour. That's not my most fun way to spend an hour, but I'm left with the most, we're going to end up with a cutie pie little finish. So I just find that take the time with this step. You will be glad that you did. And it is imperative that they measure exact the top and your bottom piece. And we're going to go all over that next week in depth, because they have to line up exactly. Did you count 6 threads up from your stitching? I did. Yes. So which would on Ada would be 3 stitches, but it's 6 threads on linen or even weave. Let's see. On the next fabric, you start with the backstitch, correct? Yes. Now, you don't have to. I will tell you that. You don't have to, but I do find it's easier because I don't like to fill in the whole back. And because I'm not filling in the whole back, I like to start with my square, because then you can literally put whatever you want in those corners. Even if you want to pick something from a different chart, you could do that. Oh, good, Crystal. I'm so glad that answers your question. Let's see. Jill says, if stitching on 18 count with 1 strand, is the back stitch done with 1 strand or 2? I would do 1 strand. It's really up to you on an 18 count. Did you stitch with 1 or 2 strands for the rest of the design? If it's not super tight, I may do 2. Like if you like the look of because I kind of like the decorative line, I might do 2. But if you did the rest of the design with 1, I think I would stick with 1 strand of floss. Yeah, this one is the easiest one, Cheryl. This one is super easy to line up. Actually, and this one was super easy to line up for me too. Both of these were really, really easy to line up. That snowflake was not. The snowflake and I were not friends. I actually ripped the entire backstitch line out. 1. Jill, I would probably go with 1 strand. If you did the rest in 1, I would probably do 1. On the Autumn Biscornu, what color DMC did you use for the backstitch? I don't know. The lighter orange color. I don't have my chart right now. Whatever the lighter orange color is in there, I use called for colors in this. It's the lighter orange color. You're welcome. Okay, did I miss anybody else's questions? I'll try to stitch a little bit more on this. I don't think I'll get to the corner. I'll try. I'm going to try. Actually, I need to also close out our poll, which I always forget to do. So it looks like the majority are stitching summer, but I love that so many of you are choosing one of the other seasons as well. I know what question I should ask next week. I should ask how many are stitching multiple seasons. We'll do that next week. Oh, Joy Ann, that's so sweet. Tell Michael thank you. That is the sweetest compliment ever. Marcy said the snowflake was a challenge for her as well. You know what, though? Here is my philosophy. I kind of like a challenge. And it turned out just better than I could have even imagined that it would. Truly. I was thrilled. So we'll see. You're welcome, Holly. 36 stitches, notch at 37, and stitch 36 more. Yes, it should measure 73 stitches, Shelly, all the way across. So basically, you're making the notch at 36.5 on linen or even weave. But for me, I don't know why. I don't like to think in half numbers. I like to think in, well, yeah, in a whole number. That's what I want to say. So I just count from each corner to just to make sure. So I always call that 37, not 36, even though it's 36.5. Overachievers. Sherry says, question, have you stitched the third summer one yet? If yes, can you show it? No, I haven't. I have not. I am going to start it. It may not be tonight. I really wanted to get the little one done, the 40 count one. Mostly because I have an idea of what I'm going to do. It just came to me this afternoon. I've been a little bit on the struggle bus with that one. I wanted to do something slightly different, but not go completely crazy. And I think I have what I'm going to do. With this project, I'm sure you guys noticed, I've been trying to share some different ways to think about your charts. So I showed changing the colors. I showed changing the fabric to a different color of fabric, but keeping all the floss that's called for. For this one, I'm stitching on different counts of fabric so that I can show how it looks on different counts. And I have one last little idea that I think I'm going to do. Actually, I have more than one, but we're only going to, I think I can only eke out that third summer one. So hopefully by this week's Flosstube, I will have a little preview to show you before next week. Thank you, Linda, for looking up the color. The lighter orange color for the autumn is 3854. Christy is an all seasons Biscornu. Yay! Are we posting progress pics we've done? Yeah, you can post them in the group. Absolutely. Lots of people have been posting. Lots of people have been posting on Instagram. I love seeing what everybody's stitching and what everybody's doing. Oh, Jana, thank you. Well, you know me, Jana. I just can't, I mean, as much as I love something, I tend to like to be like, oh, what can I do different? Not always, but a lot. I'm going to see if I can get to the corner before I go tonight, so I can just show that. If I counted right for the rest of the star. But that's how I do my double check. I'm always checking back to the chart as well. That's really tangly. Well, I think Shari's going to do something fun with hers too. So I'm anxious. I'm anxious to see what other people are doing, and I try to repost. If you post like on Instagram, I've been trying to repost it. Oh, Tabitha, thank you for the super chat. That was so sweet of you. Have a wonderful evening. Go get some stitching done. All right, I gotta count this and see how far. I need a couple more for sure before I count. I thought we would make at least one corner. Oops. And then we'll see how it looks. And I'll see if I have any questions, and then I'll let you guys go for the evening. How about that? Let's see. Okay. So, you could get counting pins out, but I don't usually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 34. That's 35. That's 36. Now, all I need to double check is because this blue corner is correct. Make sure that that is the same line. It is. So that's correct. So then we're just going to continue backstitching like so. And then we make the corner. All right. So we will do a whole, that's mostly what we'll talk about next week. Plus I will have the 36 count. When we finish this piece, it will be the first fully finished cross stitch piece for me that I didn't have someone else finish. Jana, yay! You can do it. And here is the great thing about the Biscornus. It's all done by hand. No machine needed. And once you've made one, Jana, I know you. You're going to make more because they are super fun. And it literally is so... Once you've done it a couple times, you see it, you feel it, and you just do it. Let's see. Shelly, that's funny. My children would totally disagree with you on the patience like Job. They would say, no, Mom does not. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, did I miss anybody's questions before I let you guys go tonight? Let me know. And if you have any questions and you're watching this on replay, drop them in the comments. We will get you answered. Again, a lot of the finishing questions will be talked about in that finishing video. Backstitch questions, we're going to go, like I said, in depth, and we're going to start talking about the back of the stitch next week too. How do you anchor your thread to finish it so it's secure? I do a knot. I do a knot in the seam allowance, and I will show all of that in the finishing tutorial. Are the risers you showed earlier to attach to the Biscornu? They're not to attach, you just set them on there. I mean, if you wanted, I suppose you could, but I probably wouldn't permanently attach it. But it is made, they're made to set your Biscornus on just for cute little display. And especially imagine if you were setting a tray up or something like that, and you wanted some height in your tray or your bowl or on your shelf or mantle. They make great ways to add like some height to some of your display pieces. Let's see. Yes, Jana, it is. You kind of fall down a rabbit hole and you look at all of your charts completely different. Like what can I do with this one? What can I make with this one? And there's other dimensional finishes that you can make on your own, and it's just a lot of fun. Okay, I think that is it, you guys. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful, wonderful week. I will see you guys all here next Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Central Time, and share your stitching, share your progress. I cannot wait to see what everybody's doing. Have a great week, everybody. Bye. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, click that like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new Flosstube stitching or quilting video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.